Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And thank you so much for joining us on the GrowthBuilders FinCrime edition executive pitch event held as part of the Scotland FinTech Festival.
Hi to everyone. So I am Emmanuel. I am the managing director of the deal execution group, and we specialize on fund flows. And so you're probably wondering, let me move to the next slide, wondering what are fund flows, or maybe you already know. But if I explain to you briefly, for any M&A transaction or fundraising, at the end of the day, or more exactly on the day of closing, you will have to manage plenty of wiring instruction, like bank wires. Why is that? First, because you need to pay sellers. Sometimes you need to repay the debt of the target company. And of course, you need to pay your advisors, like the investment banks, or lawyers, and so on. And so this process of coming up with a list of bank wiring instruction is called the fund flow. And it is, you have about 50,000 M&A transactions per year, ranging from a few millions to several billions. So through this process, you are really moving in a fairly risky way, billions of euros every year. And the way it looks today, it is, as you can see on the picture on right, it is all done under Excel, where people are going to be lining up plenty of bank wire instruction directly in the Excel document. So this is what you see on the page. It is an actual fund flows from an actual transaction, 2 pages, and these are big pages, the S3 one, and you had about 129 wires. So this is the state of the art today, except what we've realized working on about 80 billion euros of transaction is that this process is very inefficient. It is very risky because it is inefficient. It is very manual, meaning that you're going to have plenty of people inputting directly manual data, such as bank details, into Excel files. You are going to have plenty of people involved, lawyers, investors, everybody exchanging information. You're going to compile everything into one single file, which is going to become very big, meaning that it's going to be very difficult for you to update everything in a reliable way. And you have data on one hand, you have bank details, names, you need to cross all of that in a way that is exact. So that's difficult. Because you have everything, it is very difficult to share with people because you don't want to share all the information to all people. You want to share only part of the information. So it's very difficult. You need to duplicate files, do things like that. And for all of these reasons, fund flows today are prone to errors. There can be errors. And worse than that, there can be frauds. So what you see on the right part of the slide is that it's a picture of a story, which is a real story, which occurred in May 2022 in the US, where you had actual hackers who managed to find their way in email conversation and managed to have the bank wire instruction being changed. So part of the payment of the purchase price was paid to them in Asia and not to the right shareholders. So this is an actual risk that we need to be all very aware about and take steps to prevent. So how to do that? What is our proposition? What we want to offer the market is a proper deal execution platform, which is going to allow you to collect the documents you need from people, from KYC, AML, but also invoices, bank details, which are going to be read thanks to OCR codes. It's going to be making you easy to create this bank wire instruction. You're going to be able to create as many versions as you want of your fund flows. You're going to be able to circulate these versions to the right people. You're going to be able mostly to get formal DocuSign validations for each of the steps that you want to have formally validated, which is a major improvement over the current state. And so what you see on the right part is on the bottom, it is the digital version of the actual paper documents you saw before. And the two other pictures on top just show you how the pop-ups work when somebody actually uploads an invoice or bank details and how the platform is going to be extracting this information. So this is our proposition. It has been used a few times. We've been in business fairly recently now, but it's been used already on 3 important credentials for us. On the first one, we helped secure in excess of 1 billion euros of bank wires. And for the 2 other ones, it was smaller transactions below 500 million worth of wires. So our ambition is really to help you and help any investors or any company that is transacting to get to a true level of security and make it much easier for all people involved in the deal community. So if you're interested in knowing more about our product and understand how we can work with you and help you secure your transactions, do not hesitate to get in touch. We'll be more than happy to discuss with you guys. Thank you, and thank you, Mika.
Good afternoon, everybody. Rob Leslie is my name. I'm the CEO and founder of Sedici, and I'm going to introduce you to what I think is going to be the next iteration of KYC and AML. It's all about collaboration and using cryptography to enable the organizations to work together to identify fraud and criminality. Cybercrime is going to be the 3rd largest economy in the world by 2026. It is growing at a phenomenal rate at the moment, and will generate $6 trillion very, very soon. And what we are attempting to do is to help banks and others identify fraud and money laundering by being able to allow them work on each other's data in a very private, very secure way without them sharing any of that information. Today, we work with banks, financial service companies, insurance companies, utilities, you name it. There's a very, very broad range of companies that we work with because it's all about collaboration. Company's been going for 9 years. The management team has got over 100 years of combined experience in the area of digital identity, fraud, counter fraud, anti-money laundering. Over the years, we've won many awards for the technology that we've developed. Probably the one I'm most proud of is being named a technology pioneer by the World Economic Forum. But the key to enabling all of this is advanced cryptography that is really going to bring to life collaboration. We have a platform today that does KYC, KYB, nothing particularly exciting in all of this. A lot of companies do it, but the exciting bit is what comes next. It's about using the data that the platform captures to be able to talk to others, where those others could be authoritative sources of information like government departments, utilities, telcos, banks, and being able to use the cryptography to query those databases in a very secure, very private way, where you're able to extract insight when combined with your own data that will tell you something that you don't know today. We want to get to a place where digital identity is verified dynamically in real time, meaning I know when somebody is committing a fraud or attempting to commit a fraud at this moment in time. Cloud first is going to be the way we go. Authoritative sources we think are going to be absolutely crucial as the trust anchors of all digital transactions, meaning we know for certain that something really is what it claims to be. And privacy and security, I'm preaching to the converted here, but privacy and security are baked into absolutely every single application that you use. The 2 cryptographic protocols that we are working on are zero knowledge proofs, the ability for me to prove to you I know something without sharing it with you, or secure multi-party computation, where I'm able to do much more complex computations, taking data from a variety of different sources without ever disclosing that data to the others in the transaction. So banks could work together, none of them get to see anyone else's data, but you get insight that all of them contribute to. We've come up with a new protocol that allows you to take a piece of information and break it into fragments, a little bit like taking a jigsaw puzzle and breaking it apart, storing each of those pieces on a different server in different parts of the world, for example, and still process that data as if it was all together without ever it being together. So I can process my jigsaw puzzle while the puzzle is in pieces. And we figured out how to do this anywhere from 1 million to 1 billion times faster than the current state of the art. This is where the puck is going in terms of collaboration, and we're right at the front of it. Today, what we're able to do is to help banks identify fraud and criminality without any data sharing, so that you can inspect transactions where you're looking at the activity in relation to a transaction or an account, the KYC profile of a customer, and the login activity or the history that is associated with an account. So being able to look at this information across a sender and receiver, for example, across a multiplicity of different banks and transactions, can show you how the typology of money laundering actually takes place. So it's not just limited to your organization, it can be spread across a whole variety of different organizations. Ultimately, what we're seeking to do is to generate insight from a collaboration of organizations. Those organizations don't have to be just financial institutions. It could be social media companies, it could be telcos, utilities, government agencies. But at the end of the day, it's about collaboration. And what we're trying to do is to get like-minded organizations to come together to demonstrate capability by building proofs of concept to show how collaboration can drive value. So if that's of interest, we'd love to have a deeper conversation with you. Thank you very much.
So I'm Matthias Verbeke from Complidata. I'm one of the co-founders there as well. So what we bring is trying to use AI as a co-pilot to assist and enhance your financial crime compliance, payments, and trade finance processes. We're located in Belgium, around 25 to 30 people currently, established in 2018. And actually, most of our people as well have a lot of experience, I would say, in anti-financial crime since the actual beginning of this process as well. What we stand for is accuracy, transparency, and efficiency as well. So what do? We are supercharging existing screening system and monitoring system. So as you might know, today, most of the transaction monitoring of name screening or sanction screening systems are generating a lot of noise. So around 90% of false positive alerts is quite current with financial institutions. And what we want to do is being able to really reduce this so that we can make sure that the investigators of the alerts are concentrating on the real cases. So what we are not is that we are not a rip and replace of any existing legacy system. We don't want to go and replace, we really want to add turbo onto the existing system, therefore not changing any of the processes that are there today. And really, we are not only making the decision through AI, the AI is the assistant of the investigator, and the investigator will still be able to make his own decisions. What and we're doing this and how we're doing this is really integrating a score that indicates the potential of being a false positive. We add an explainable and intuitive narrative for the, I would say, less mathematical investigators that are using AI. And then we have, of course, how we can do that is that we really plug into the existing process through APIs or to proprietary ways as well to integrate it to the existing systems. We have a full risk-based approach, and it's all accompanied by a full model management framework as well. And how we get that to our results is that we will be able to reduce the false positive by at least 40%. But also making sure that the investigation of the actual alerts are also happening faster, as we are able to explain with more data what are the incremental data features that are actually creating this alert to be predicted a false positive or a true positive. This is just a little slide actually to show you how we have done at one of our customers. And here you can see that this customer currently had more than 1.5 million transactions on a daily basis. From these were 50,000 alerts generated on a day that need to be investigated. Once we actually used our machine learning models on that, what happened is that we were able to identify 50,000 obvious false positives that could be closed immediately. And then we also had 6% of these alerts that we could actually bring immediately to the second level of investigation, so that further investigation could happen on that. And that 64% of the total of those 50,000 alerts would only go to level A, where previously 100% would go there. And you need to imagine that at level A, they only have around 16 seconds to be able to go through these exercise. The team that we were working with had around 400 persons in that team, and they had a churn there as well of people leaving after a tenure of 3 months. Here, so we got to a false positive reduction of 30% and 95% of correct identification of the true positives. We were able to actually do the reducing of the processing time of the alerts, improving the efficiency, and then allocate the alerts immediately to the level that would need to be happening. And because of this, we calculated just on that screening of sanctions for their transactions that we were able to get a return on investment of more than 4 million euros, just by making sure that the correct people find the correct alerts, reducing the alerts as well at the first level, and making sure that we can concentrate on the correct alerts that are there. We also are claimed to be one of the better ones to actually bring this kind of white box approach to machine learning as well. And we are using a white box approach because we want to be able to completely explain how the AI is actually making this decision. We have a full management dashboard that is continually analyzing as well the model that is in production, and to be able to understand if the model is still stable on the new data that is being processed. And of course, we align ourselves as well within the model risk management of the bank, so that we can make sure that we stay within their own risk-based approach. Eating the pudding, as we say. What do? We can come to you for a free POC. We do this within 3 months to show you the value of our solution. And within 3 months, we are able actually to already show that we will be able to get to 40% reduction. And then the additional months would be needed to be able to integrate within the existing system. And as you can see, some of the leaders of the European banks already today, and actually Asian banks as well, already have used this, and actually are continuing with other additional models as well for the other different use cases that we're working on with them.
Hi, I'm Roger Walton. I'm the CRO of Resistant AI. Interesting to hear a couple of the, well, 3 or 4 of the presentations actually very aligned to the business that we're in. There's probably opportunities for collaboration there as well. So good to see the fight against financial crime. I've been in and around the anti-financial crime space for a number of years now, for probably 25 plus years. And it's been an interesting game of cat and mouse over the years. And what's interesting now is it's getting even worse. It's getting harder. As financial services organizations utilize more and more technology, and in particular automation and AI and machine learning, so do the fraudsters, so do the criminals. We're seeing now, one of our product marketeers came up with the term of fraud as a service. We're seeing this. The criminals are organized, they collaborate, they work together, they have sharing mechanisms. And what we're seeing now is that the attempts are on the increase, and they're being more successful. The growth is significant, and the actual losses that people are experiencing are much more dramatic. And the single cases of fraud are going up by huge amounts, and we're seeing this across the world. This is no particular geography. This is everywhere we're seeing this. So how does it work? There are a number of, there is a supply chain in terms of the way the fraudsters work. So you have fraudsters that will generate synthetic identities, or they will sell stolen identities. They will sell and provide all the relevant documentation that might exist. Criminal gangs will then take those assets and manipulate the onboarding processes. They will work through the KYC processes. They will develop profiles and identities within the financial institutions, create multiple accounts, mule accounts. There could be dormant accounts just waiting for the activity or the opportunity to create activity, and then exploit obviously the potential crime that goes around that. So there is a very, very organized approach to this. The challenge here is this customer, this new customer that you're onboarding, is this somebody that you know? Is it who they say they really are? And is this existing customer behaving in the way that you might expect? Are they behaving in the way that they say they would be, or their peer group might be, or their actual historical activity might be? So resistant AI has a couple of core, I suppose, offerings, if you like, where we've taken our AI machine learning. We use something called it's a data-driven anomaly detection. So as opposed to a model-driven anomaly detection, so this is the ability to just look at vast quantities of data and find the unusual activity that you want to delve into, as opposed to finding specific behaviors. And we do this through a couple of propositions. We look at the documents. It's both they're both the digital and the physical representation of who they are. And we'll also look at their transactional behavior. And we try and deliver sort of three, I suppose, benefits or three value propositions around that. Is to improve onboarding, make it faster and better, reducing the KYC friction, and obviously making it safer as well. We are helping organizations to improve the way that they are categorizing and prioritizing alerts, ensuring that whether that's fraud or money laundering activity is being addressed appropriately. Focus the resource where they need to be. Focus the resource on the alerts and the activity that is relevant, as opposed to much of the activity that we heard from Matthias there is not relevant. And obviously then to ensure that they're protected against unknown behaviors, unknown threats that we haven't identified yet. There is lots of human trafficking, child exploitation activity, terrorist financing, which is very topical right now, that is really hard to detect because there is no map, there is no rule book associated with them. So in summary, real sort of quick analysis of the two core propositions that we have. So this is the onboarding part of the AI machine learning techniques that we do. We call it document forensics. And this is really to address, I hear this all the time from customers. I want to have faster and more automation. I want to reduce my KYC friction. I don't want customers to be slow to onboard, but I want to make sure that I'm protecting against the bad actors and the fraudsters. And typically, organizations say they want it in that order, which obviously is a dangerous way of doing things. And we address this in all three stages. We address it with our technology in all three at the same time. So we're able to ensure that automation is flowing rapidly and effectively. We are passing through the good customers quickly and effectively by reducing the KYC friction, but we're ensuring that we are trapping and capturing and identifying those fraudsters as quickly and as effectively as possible. And I've got a couple of examples here. Here's a bank statement that we've seen. This one is a fabricated one. The sharp eyes amongst you will recognize the address of this particular bank account. Doesn't really tally, but this is something that we did this for a hackathon for one of the government agencies in the UK, and we identified here where you could see a standard NatWest bank account had been manipulated with a name and address, and some of the transactions and some of the labels of the description of the transactions have been manipulated. And you'll see this in a nice user interface that investigators can see. This is alerted. This is provided as a user interface for the investigators to delve into. Here's another example where there is two or the same bank account that has been fabricated in two separate ways. So you can see there's different logos, different formats, but the actual statement itself is identical. They just changed some of the dates, some of the names, but the values and everything else associated with that bank statement is the same. And you can see this is very, very hard, if not impossible, to detect by the human eye. And we see these all the time, where, like I said before, where fraudsters are selling these on the black market. Moving on to the way we look at the ongoing behaviors, the ongoing transactional activity, which we call transaction forensics. And this is a way not dissimilar to some of the techniques that Matthias has talked about and some of the ways that Rob has talked about with Siddiqui. This is what we do, is to look at alert activity. We can categorize those alerts and prioritize them to ensure the investigators have focused their attention and their resource where they need to be. Put the attention on the good alerts that are likely to deliver something that is worth investigating, that you want to report on or you want to stop in terms of fraud. And those alerts that aren't that relevant, let them go, let them flow down and treat them in a different way. And this is how we're able to improve the effectiveness and the job satisfaction of many investigators, but improving that investigative productivity, making sure that the SARs, the suspicious activity reports, are appropriately submitted. So making sure that that activity is focused there. And also, like I said before, to focus and look for those new areas of threats that people don't really know how to find, those new areas of of human trafficking and child exploitation, like I described before. This is just one example where we saw multiple accounts linked together, where from an ATM traffic across the city, where fraudsters were pulling out the cash from these accounts that were all might together, but looked as though they might have been separate. So in summary, we're all about improving the way that KYC works, making the error-prone processes faster, better, and safer, ensuring that we layer on top, improve existing systems without having to replace them by applying AI machine learning on top of those to utilize anomaly-based detection, and using the ability to create an evidence-based or a trigger-based review of customers. This happens all the time, and we see this across our customer base. Some examples here above. Thank you for your time, and let us know if we can answer any questions for you.
Hello everyone, so this is Mindflow. We are doing intelligent enterprise automation, and we started it with SecOps, so we can go way beyond to fraud detection, KYC, cloud management. So super happy to give you a little grasp on our team. We won many prizes. We were elected most innovative cybersecurity startup of Europe this year, and we won the International Forum of Cybersecurity last year. We are passionate about the product we built with Fabrice, my co-founder, in the way that we think that the product can be an enabler of value in some extent. As a pen you may have, we wanted to be the pen of automation within the enterprise environment, to be able to write and scale automation at any point of your operation. So my co-founder worked in the banking industry and the fraud detection banking industry, in securing, for example, the credit card that you may have in your pockets. So what is the picture as of today? In the enterprise signups environment, you have like so many tools, and in security, you will have like dozens of tools to orchestrate and integrate with, like EDM, CM, and so on and so forth. And the thing is that you have more and more of these tools that are specialized and they're not compatible to each other. And on the other side, you have a growing stress with so many alerts and not enough experts. So there are 3 million jobs open on the market as of today, and there's only one way to solve that: it's automation. The thing is that if you look at the operational perspective as of today, it remains the biggest problem within the industry. So since 2019, 19, 20, 21, 22, every time after talent shortage, lack of orchestration and automation is the first pain. And the tool didn't answer that. Why? Because what does it take to automate? You can know master programming language, learn a crazy number of API, and deploy and maintain the software. The thing is that to know all the API of every vendor that are always up to date, it's almost impossible. So it's what we do. We allow orchestration and automation that are across the silo for various of use cases, and our differentiator is that we are natively integrated to the full enterprise environment. What does that mean? If I show you the products, this is a console, this is automation unit that you have in workspace that you can share among your teams, and you will have basically all the microservices available within your tooling. So if you want to play with AWS, instead of writing Lambda, you have like the 350 services and the 50 as an action of AWS available. Same with Atlassian, same with Google, same with Azure AD, same with everything. So we come with the full capacity of the tool directly to you. For instance, let's pick a Datadog. You will be able to create workflow that look like that. If I check a suspicious login, this is an impossible travel flow of automation. And the first thing that you see is that they are super well understandable. And this is an alert. You will enrich a ticket. You will check if the user is suspended and compare the EDR with the user and the device location. If they are different location, do a soft warming. And then you will be able to play with all the integration you may have, all the services and all the actions. So if you want to play with Datadog, you want to play with Slack, whatever is accessible to you to parameter in a super easy way. So this is Mindflow. If you have any question, there are so many different use cases. So some people did KYC, onboarding, offboarding, monitoring the cloud environment, and doing some whatever will be done actually manually to give a better security posture, to answer faster, to enrich, triage things within your ecosystem. So this is a remediation from less work, which is a system. So that's what you can do with Mainflow. Hope you liked it. If you have any question, more than happy to answer them. And in the meantime, I will be creating automated flow thanks to the AI, and super happy to talk about them the way it goes. So happy to answer to all your questions. Thank you very much.